Oh wait, so here's the thing. Don't record this part, dude.
Oh, I'm not recording.
Oh my goodness.
Can you hear her well enough down there?
Yeah.
I'm sure she will project her best study hall voice.
Study hall.
Morning sunshines. Okay, you can't video this yet. This is
I'm not videoing.
Centering the camera just right.
I'm serious. I have to make a disclosure.
Well, go ahead. I'll edit it out.
You should hear something else. Okay. So seriously, I have to make a disclosure.
Go
A
ahead.
disclaimer.
Go ahead.
She's incorrigible. So the first four.
She doesn't want us to.
Well, she can record the speech.
Oh, okay.
Just not the disclaimer.
Oh, okay.
Here's the disclaimer. Disclaimer is that the first part was written out, the second part was ad-libbed. So don't worry if I don't mention knitting in the park again. It's just letting you know.
I was looking forward to that. So
What did you say?
Yeah, I was too. That was my favorite part.
I like the part.
I think you're going to have to ad-lib it now.
I think I'll ad-lib it.
I was being facetious.
What the two women were saying sounded like this. Coq-oui clock, je vaillette clock. I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. Closed my eyes and I kept listening. Same thing. A distinctly Slavic sound, ch, je, coming from the front of the oral cavity, contrasting sharply with a guttural clucking. The sounds reminded me of something. What was it? So I kept eavesdropping. And then it dawned on me. It sounded like Tuvan throat singing. Tuvan throat singing is a type of singing in which two sounds are produced simultaneously. One is very low and gravelly, and another is a higher-pitched whistle. The entity, formerly known as Tano Tuva, and currently referred to as the Tuva Republic, is located in central Siberia, in Russia. The Tuvan language is a Turkic language, with both Mongolian and, more recently, Russian roots. Tuvan throat singing is just one of my many extra special musical techniques and modes of sound production that I've attempted to teach myself. For example, after hearing a performance with a fantastic rendition of a trumpet solo and band from the piece for which the three-cornered hat is best known, my hat, it has three corners has my hat, I decided that I, too, wanted to be able to triple tongue. And so I practiced. Tick-a-tee, tick-a-ta, tick-a-tick-a-ta-ta, tick-a-tee, tick-a-ta, tick-a-tick-a-ta-ta. Now, things became a bit more complicated when, as a bassoonist, I had to triple tongue with a bamboo reed stuck in my mouth. Then I decided to circular breathe. I just thought it was so interesting because I wanted to be able to never have to take a breath through my mouth. And I wanted to be able to sustain long notes for, well, forever. When you circular breathe, you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth into your instrument simultaneously. Unfortunately for me, I got some bad advice. I was told to put water in my mouth, in order to gauge my outgoing air pressure. I was told to put water in my mouth and push it out, simulating a fountain. Let's just say that my first few attempts weren't too successful, and I almost drowned in my parents' bathtub. Then in my early 20s, I was mesmerized by the music of Miriam Makeba. I had just come back from studying abroad in Germany, and I had spent a lot of time with the South Africans in Germany. And I was learning that Miriam Makeba would click in her native South African tongue. And it took me 6 weeks in Germany to even learn how to say the word kosa. And so you can imagine, here I am, coming coming back from Germany, walking up all over ISU's campus, practicing my plosive and lateral clicks. What could possibly be more exciting than triple tonguing, circular breathing, and clicking? Singing two sounds at once, of course. And after years of practice, all I can say is this. It is easier to get that low, gravelly low resonance when I'm coming down with bronchitis. Now, given what I thought I knew about tube and throat singing at the time, I really was surprised by the similarities between what I thought I heard those women saying and what I heard in all the tube and throat singing performances at which I've attended, and as well as my collection of tube and throat singing at home. And the curiosity was overwhelming. I had to ask, excuse me, where are you from? Wouldn't you know? They're from Mongolia. Northern Mongolia, in the vicinity of Tuva. Now, normally when I'm in public, I do want you to know, when I'm on the bus, when I'm knitting in the park, and also when I'm checking citations in the mall, I usually mind my own business. I do. I usually keep to myself, but, you know, curiosity, it just gets to me, and I'm pleased to say that I'm not the only one. Richard Feynman, the 1965 Nobel Prize winner in physics, was obsessed with all things Tuvan. In fact, his motto for the last 10 years of his life was Tuva or bust. Due to the rules and regulations enforced by the Soviet government in the 1970s and the 1980s, outsiders simply couldn't visit Tuva. Well, that didn't stop Feynman and his friend and biographer Ralph Layton from securing a Mongolian-Russian Tuvan phrase book and learning enough Tuvan to correspond with basically anybody who would actually reply to their letters. Now, they tried so hard to get to Tuva. They wrote the Russian government. They wrote the United States government. They went everywhere writing letters. And finally, they'd almost given up. But their curiosity about this place called Tuva was really starting to get to them. So towards the end of his life, Richard Feynman developed cancer, unfortunately. And one of his favorite quotations that I just love is the following, that was quoted in a late 1980 film on Nova. He says, "I get curious about everything, and I want to investigate all kinds of stuff." Well, quite frankly, I don't think I could say it better myself. And wouldn't you know, after 10 years of trying to get to Tuva, the day after Richard Feynman succumbed to cancer, he received a letter from the Russian government allowing him to come. So wouldn't you know, his friends did make the trip, and they wrote a book about it called Tuva or Bust. Sometimes curiosity is a really powerful, powerful thing. But I think of all the ages and stages I've gone through after the last 10 years, and I have a friend, some of us here know her, Peggy Cobb. Peggy Cobb, for those of you who don't know her, is a local author. She's turning 96 this year. She's a local author on children's books about bats. And Peggy likes to check in on me from time to time over the phone. And she always says to me, no matter what I'm going through, no matter what's going on, she always said, "Hey, Melanie, furnish your mind well, and you will always have a comfortable place to live." Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, the title of my speech had been "My Future or Bust." Get it, Tuva or Bust. Terre Haute or Bust.